Welcome back to Colony Wars, the final chapter of the first game. There ain't too much to say other than that we have one act left, there's only 3 missions, and a Super Titan to destroy. And we're gonna see that right now.
We could feel the heat of Sol as we drew close to the Earth. This was the place our ancestors had set out from so long ago. Now, though, the Earth signified nothing to us except tyranny and oppression. It was a war that left a legacy of pain and destruction. Now it was within our power to consign centuries of genocide to the wastes of history. With one final assault, we could avenge our forefathers and destroy the Empire forever. That was what we believed and what we hoped for. It was up to us now, and us alone.
The final descent sequence...
Military coups historically do lead to very stable governments.
Well, we're not trying to take over anything, we're just kind of just trying to destroy their empire.
Oh, even better.
We already have our own stuff set up in Gallinair and Diomedes. I mean, we're running okay.
It's true, actually.
For, like, all things considered.
Considering we have all the resources, yeah.
Attempts are being made to stifle the supply of military craft to hostile air bases.
Not air bases.
A Navy carrier craft of substantial
There's
capacity
no air.
has been identified in the Earth zone, close to the planet's moon. It is loading a cargo of high-velocity fighters for use in close battle situations. You are required to approach the space station where loading is currently underway. The carrier and enemy fighters in the vicinity are to be destroyed. Good luck.
So I'm pretty sure if you fail any of these missions here, it goes to the canon ending.
Sure.
Because there's only 3 of them. This could be tough. Yeah, no, you don't need to do that.
Sure.
They have... See, this is a final fighter right here. T1 Typhoon.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know anything about it. This is the only set of missions they appear in.
We know they're high velocity. That's about it.
You can see that it's actually a T9 Tornado there with 2 big engines on the side of it.
Sure.
It's we don't really get to see it do much is the thing, but they're very durable and they also have a scatter gun. That's as much as I know, personally.
Okay. Do we get the Eclipse in all 3 missions?
Yes.
That's nice.
The carrier is trying to reel them in. Nothing actually happens, believe it or not.
Huh.
And then we just destroy the carrier and we're okay. But, there's a space station out there.
I did remember hearing something about that.
But yeah, if you look at the T1 Typhoon in the database, there's no information whatsoever on it, because I'm pretty sure canonically the League never fought it.
Okay.
It's been attacked from the beginning, bud. Anyway, I'm going to disable that so it stops shooting me, and then I'm going to go over and destroy that space station, even though it's not even part of the objective at all. It doesn't even fire back at you either. It's weird.
That seems like it might be a war crime. What you just did.
It's okay. If it wasn't firing back, it was probably evacuated or something.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Nice work, pilot.
Also, the only mission we see a carrier. We saw one in a cutscene, but that's the only mission we see one.
They look just like a cruiser with an extra big old Star Trek disc on the end.
More like a destroyer or a dreadnought.
The League is now attempting to take decisive action in the region of Earth. Navy forces are defending in substantial numbers. However, intermediate reports indicate that a lack of organization among some enemy units is allowing League forces to advance further. Fierce retaliatory measures are evident throughout the Earth.
That's what commissars are for.
Units must endeavor to break through
If you will not serve on the front, you serve on the firing line.
Then they just give you ammo, and they give someone else the gun without ammo.
Here you go.
Titan craft are present in this.
I never understood that. I guess there was the whole idea that they're just throwing bodies at there, hoping people get through, and then eventually pick up arms.
The idea is they didn't have enough guns, but they had so many people that they would rather just field them all so that if you didn't have a gun, you could loot one from someone who did and was dead.
We have 2 Titans in the area that we need to destroy. They're actually doing things this time, and we're going up against their Typhoon fighters. You can see that they actually have some pretty slick moves, and They're firing 2 red lasers, which is not a weapon that ever appears anywhere. It's like the scatter laser color, but it's not. So it's obviously... It doesn't need to go through the whole anti-shield laser and then regular laser process.
I see.
So they're pretty dangerous in that theory.
So they damage shields just right off the bat.
They don't need to worry about anything. It might be their only weapon. It is definitely a prototype that's been just like rushed out by now.
Right, yeah, it's whatever they had left. Only one out of the 2 Typhoons actually has a gun. The others are supposed to pick them up from the destroyed ones.
Did you see, like, every time it fires, it actually spins around and just crazy amount of damage coming out?
Yeah. I'm not sure what tactical effect that would have in space besides disorienting the pilot, but it looks cool.
Well, the whole point is it has the variable thrust there.
I think we said before that Titans are big, but they could be bigger. They don't feel substantially big to me.
Well, the Tsar had to have the Super Titan for himself.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So petulant.
What?
Our buddy was saying something, but I couldn't hear it over the giant explosion.
That's the last you'll see of this war.
Mm-hmm. You said that failing any of these missions goes straight to the canonical ending. But
I'm going to assume so, because there's only 3 of them.
Sure. Since we're in the region of Earth, is that the moon there, you think? I don't know what else it would be. I guess Earth's on the other side of it, because...
Yeah, Earth is, it's not a blue planet anymore. You saw it in the cutscene. It was just brown and green looking.
Sure.
It's just dead as hell. Yet in Vengeance, it looks blue again.
Well, you know.
I don't know what the idea behind that was. Maybe... I mean...
Fuel shortages are so severe that the ecology has actually had time to recover, because they can't pollute fast enough anymore. I don't know.
30 years, man. That's not a long time for that kind of thing, I'd imagine.
No.
I like how... I think this is like the 4th time he said it's been a good day for the League.
Yeah. Thanks, robot.
So just one more mission. Can you believe that?
I can. All that's left is Earth itself, I assume. Well, the Super Titan. I do like how the description of the Super Titan is no information available. Well, I don't know about none. It's big, we know that. It's probably got a ton of guns on it.
Urgent transmissions received from Lee Command suggest that the assault route to be taken is now blocked. A successful attack on Earth is deemed to be dependent on the removal of this unidentified obstruction. Intermittent signal jams are evident. The obstruction is clearly a key command craft, which refuses to engage an attack protocol. Intelligence units suggest that it may be the Tsar's personal Super Titan. However, the existence of such a craft has never previously been verified. All heavily armed League units are required to approach and engage this craft. Its destruction will signal the fall of the Earth Empire. You are required to ensure this scenario prevails.
What does he mean it's never been verified? Wasn't it fielded to put down the previous insurrection?
No, he could have been leading from any kind of craft. This could, have been developed only just recently as the game began.
I see.
Because we saw it in the very bad ending.
Yeah, that's right.
So it may have just only been completed, or maybe it's really, really expensive to field.
We haven't seen it on this timeline. There you go.
It'll only appear in that ending and in this mission.
Of the Super Titan. Support them and do what
so we have 3 dreadnoughts.
Sure.
Good luck, pilot.
Wow. The moon's pretty small. I don't think the moon is big enough. Okay. And it just blows your dreadnought to bits right away. I like that. That's good.
If it destroys all the dreadnoughts, I'm imagining that this is kind of like a soft timer they don't tell you about. I'm pretty sure that if all the dreadnoughts get destroyed and you haven't brought it down yet, that gun will fire on you and that's an instant kill.
Sure.
which would then just lead to the canon ending, of course.
Right.
But, I mean, at this point, that would be kind of weird, because, like, we have all of our stuff here. This is the last thing we have to get through.
Now, Tsar found out that there was, in fact, only one fighter in the League that was doing literally all the damage.
There goes another one.
There you go. How many dreadnoughts do you have?
We only started with 3, so technically we have 2 to go through before he turns his gun on me. I also don't think you can permanently EMP damage this thing.
Sure.
But with that being said, it's done.
Your efforts will never be forgotten.
Usually that last dreadnought goes, but
commencing jump sequence.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
In this next cutscene, pay attention to like the really beginning when you can hear like the violin start strumming. I really love that effect. It's just like the whole war has been won now. We finally made it.
At last, it was time for our species to move on. I suppose there were those in the League who felt pride, but I couldn't dig out such an emotion. I was exhausted. I could hardly comprehend that the war was over, and now I felt simply drained. The unconditional surrender had come from the heart of the Empire. We assumed this meant the Tsar was still alive, but once the drop to Earth had been made, and the League had scoured the Imperial Palace, it brought back only one message. The Tsar was gone. He had vanished. In those months and years following the bloodshed, the people of Tsar left their homes and made new lives on the fertile colony worlds. I often wonder whether they find life without the Empire as strange as I find life without the League. Now that the struggle is over and the worlds rule themselves, something seems to be missing. Though it isn't something I'd ever want returned.
There are actually 2 variations of the ending. If you fail like once or twice up to that final ending, you can see how there's 2 little cinema blocks down there.
Mm-hmm.
If you fail once or twice, it ends when it starts going through that warp hole sequence. And then if you beat the game 100% success, you see that little extra sequel hook they had with the big alien ship eclipsing the planet there.
Sure.
So here's my stats over all the missions.
Very impressive.
I caused 161 fleet losses and 457 fighter kills. And we only lost 72 fleet craft and 44 fighters on our side in my missions.
Not bad at all.
The credits actually don't play automatically. You gotta go find them yourself. I don't know. It's the same thing in the second game as well.
Well, I don't know. It betrays a lack of confidence. So what I want to know is, now that all the planets rule themselves, what will happen to the people who lived on that farm planet that were allowed to keep some fraction of a % and got just terminally fat off that? What will they do with 100%?
Well, I mean, if Sol everyone's moved on from Sol and even more systems and planets are being colonized, I'd imagine there'd be even greater trade between the planets. This is like the paradise and utopian ending here. Everyone gets to live happily after the war. Mm-hmm. Because they finally get rid of the Empire. Everyone gets to rule themselves. No more League, no more Empire. It's just, people living on planets now.
Wonderful.
Maybe they probably still won't get fat, but I mean, hey, it's not like another event like the last emasculation will take place.
It's true. At least they can be fat in freedom. And after all, isn't that all any of us want? We're from America.
It's the true Roman way of living.
Mm-hmm.
Just living rich, sitting on the balcony,
right?
Eating grapes whole, just from the whole branch.
Eating until you have to vomit so you can eat some more. Thanks, League. You've built a bright future for all of us.
All speech recorded at, quote-unquote, the sound company.
There you go. I don't know where else you'd record it. Certainly not space. There's no sound in space.
Hey, I have blown up 160 ships that would disagree with
you. Have, and heard every single one. I like to imagine that they just put a computer in your starfighter that just synthesizes sounds for you. Just whenever it hears a big explosion, and just plays a noise for you to, give you that extra bit of feedback. They know what you like.
What are your thoughts on Colony Wars of the first game? Just like, what kind of game it was?
It was incredibly impressive for a PlayStation 1 game. They did a lot. I'm amazed that the frame rate could frankly handle it. The graphics they did very well as. I mean, it's got some dated design on it, to be sure. The scale, as we mentioned, of some of the ships is a bit anemic, considering the scale of the plot that they try to describe it. But they do a great job keeping the action up all the time. There's not a lot of dead time. I've talked a lot about TIE Fighter because that's the closest game I've played to this. And TIE Fighter's great, but there's a lot of dead time where you're just flying across vast distances. I mean, granted, you would do that in space. But in a video game that knows what it's going for, Colony Wars did that a lot better. So I enjoyed it. It seemed well made.
Every flaw you can think of in this game is pretty much fixed in the next one. Hard points on capital ships, which if you take out all the hard points on a ships, that is pretty much like a one-hit kill. Mm-hmm. There's less ships for you to fly, but you can upgrade them.
Sure.
You get upgrades for beating missions. There's planet-side missions. There's multi-stage missions where you warp to another area in the same mission, and you have a character you're actually playing as who is telling the story from his point of view as well.
Right, instead of our sort of vague narrator who may or may not be the player. It's kind of hard to tell here.
No, it's just considered he's a League veteran, that's what he's known as, and he's just telling the story as it happens.
Right.
Next week we're going to pick up Vengeance, which I have slipped in the ending or the intro to here, so you can get an idea of how that's going to turn out. I have been Loon.
I am hard to pronounce.
Our ancestors on Earth had reached out across the universe, civilizing, enriching. Jealous terrorists, the League of Free Worlds, spread vile propaganda, sending death squads to crush and slaughter us. Sealing the warp hole, they fled like cowards, leaving us to die. 9 planets, 1 sun, hunger, poverty, decay. We turned on each other. This was Sol, and we were its prisoners. The urge to survive is strong, but if it hadn't have been for Kron, we would have given up long ago. This was the world I was born into.